We're about ready to start, bud. You're the... Okay, it is.
Do we need a quorum for a study session?
It is 3 o'clock, and our quorum just walked in. So we're going to be working on the 2021 budget this study session, and I'll turn it over to Ms. Pack.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Commissioners. This is one of the last presentations that I'll give you on the 2021 budget. I'll be before you again, but this is kind of gives you kind of where we ended up with all of the direction that you gave us last week at our study session, and puts all the numbers together for you. So we do have some steps still to follow. Monday, the 27th, Tara will be bringing forward to you the authorization to publish. And that also sets our maximum mill levy rate and our maximum expenditure. So at that point, once we set that, there's no going back. There's no going over that number. We can certainly change it and go lower if we chose to, but we can't go any higher once we publish that. We'll publish on July 30th. We have to give 10 days notice, so we will not have our public hearing until August the 10th, which will give you 1 week off from budget discussion. At that time, we'll do our first reading of the ordinance. Then the next week on the 17th, we'll do the second reading. We'll adopt the comprehensive fee schedule and the pay plan. And then on the 25th, we're required to submit all that documentation to the county.
One question on that.
Yep.
Is it that the budget can't be increased after that without an amendment, or just the mill levy can't be increased?
Both, because what we certify in the newspaper is the mill levy rate and taxes, and we also give them what our expenditures are going to be.
So when we make adjustments to our budget, we're more making adjustments to individual items in that budget as opposed to the...
Correct.
Okay.
If we needed to adjust that budget sometime after we adopted it, first of all, law requires you to wait till the year in which you're spending. So if this was 2021, we'd have to wait till 2021 to amend.
Right.
And we could amend it at any time in 2021. If in January we figured out we needed to spend a lot more money than we've budgeted in total for an individual fund, then we'd have to go through the whole process again of publishing it, having a public hearing, and adopting a new amended budget.
Right, so we could amend the budget, we just can't change the mill rate.
Sure,
Okay.
that's correct.
Yeah.
When you amend, you cannot change the taxing authority. You can't change how much you're going to collect in taxes, because that's levied from that mill levy rate.
Okay.
That makes sense?
I might, in case what you're asking is, at the budget hearing, after it's published, we cannot increase the mill levy rate, we cannot increase the expenditures. At the hearing, we could still decrease those from the published amount.
That's correct.
So there are adjustments, or we can make adjustments within
Within the
the
budget.
budget
Okay.
amounts.
Yes,
Thank you.
as long as you don't go over the total for a fund.
All right, thank you.
That's correct. So we wanted just to recap what the assumptions we've made are so that we make sure that what we heard from you is what we actually put into the budget. For the Salina Area Chamber of Commerce, we did not make any changes to the allocation. For Salina Downtown Inc., they requested $42,750 for supplement and $47,500 for facade funding. Your direction to us was to approve the supplement and put a placeholder in the budget for the facade, and that we would look at that a little bit later in the year when we knew what the CID numbers were looking like. OCCK had requested a significantly reduced amount of $475,163.25, and you approved that. Salina Municipal Band, you approved the $20,000 a year funding that we've always provided, that we provided for them for many years. The comprehensive fee schedule that we proposed to you, you approved that with a couple of changes. One was that there would be no change to the animal services increase for surrender fees, and that the police department increase in the electronic photo fees would not be increased. The bond and interest fund target balance, you directed us to raise that target limit to $800,000, and you approved the changing the funding plan of the police training facility to be out of property tax. The use of special parks fund, you approved that we use the special parks fund for the purchase of equipment in 2021. The capital improvement program, you approve the allocation for funds for sub-CIP and CIP. We'll come back with those specific items later in the year and get that specific approval. On the pay plan, you approved a pay grade increase for street maintenance workers from grade G to grade J. You approved a CDL compensation adjustment in the amount of 50 cents an hour. And you approved option 3, which was a 2% COLA and a 2% merit in the 2021 budget to be partially funded by the mill levy. On the health insurance fund, you directed us to include a 4% increase on the expenditure side of the 2021 budget. And in property tax, you approved an increase in the property tax to the maximum amount allowable under the tax lid. So where does that get us? In the general fund, that the total revenues that'll be budgeted are $43,736,225. The total expenditures are $42,851,12. Oh, right, reading the wrong column, sorry. The revenues are $44,175,480, and the expenditures are $43,619,258, leaving an expected net income of $556,221. As we know, $336,527 is the one-time savings from OCCK. So our net adjusted income would be $219,694. And I did the attachments to that were the detail, my department summaries and detail line items.
Those numbers are slightly different than what we have.
From?
The total.
On your sheet I gave you?
On the 2021 draft?
Okay.
Yeah, there's a $50,000 difference somewhere.
Yeah. On what we have, the adjusted net income is 169,708.
Okay.
So there's something slightly different.
Okay.
One item I know I missed,
Okay.
so I might not have reprinted my page.
What line item does that OCCK funding come out of on the
It comes out of
expenditures?
contractual services.
Okay, that's the one I wanted to mark. So that,
The one
So
that I
that's
actually
the-
missed on the detail was we budget ADA compliance each year out of the general fund, and it's $50,000
Okay.
for 2021.
So that would
And
change
it drops at the
expenses
bottom of the
50,000.
report, and so it got cut off. So yeah,
Yeah.
your number would be correct.
Okay.
I corrected that page and just didn't update my page. In the Arts and Humanities Fund, the budgeted revenue is $1,048,100. The budgeted expenditures are $897,092, with an expected net income of a little over $151,000. In the Sales Tax Capital Fund, we're budgeting $8.5 million in revenue and approximately $7.7 million in expenditures, with a net income of $756,000. Sales Tax Economic Development Fund, we're budgeting around $345,000 in revenues and about $370,000 in expenditures, with an expected net loss of $25,000. Business Improvement District, Tourism Convention are both pass-throughs, so those have net effect of zero on those funds, or should have. The Special Parks and Recreation, we're budgeting $227,300 in revenue. We're budgeting $251,000 in expenditures for a net loss of $23,700, realizing that we wanted to spend down that fund balance. Special Alcohol is a pass-through, so there's a net income of zero on that one. Special Gas Fund, we're projecting, budgeting a net revenue of $1,332,550. We're budgeting expenditures of $1,493,193 for an expected net loss of $166,443. Neighborhood Parks, we're budgeting for $4,500 in revenue, $10,000 in expenditures for a net loss of $5,500. TPAC, we're budgeting $828,673 in revenue. We're budgeting expenditures of $740,000 for a net income of $88,673. Solid Waste Fund, we're budgeting $3,093,300 in revenues, $2,995,906 in expenses, for a net income of $97,393.
That's also different.
Oh. I must not have printed the right paper.
So your revenues are $3,093,000 and expenses $3,024,000.
What do I have on the screen? Let's see.
Net income of $68,501. Maybe I misheard you.
Nope,
Yeah, I
that's
have-
what I have.
I have an old printed
Okay.
copy, because I only have 2 funds on that page. I probably grabbed the wrong one off my desk, because I have another one here. Let's see if that matches. Oh, that's helpful. Yes, so net expenses of $3,024,798?
Yeah.
Okay, I got the right copy now.
That's it.
Okay, sorry about that. The golf fund, we have budgeted revenues of $870,500, expenditures of $864,569, with an expected revenue income of $5,930.
I think you skipped over sanitation.
Yeah, I was going to ask about sanitation. You have 3 on the one page now.
Sanitation, yep, sanitation, we have revenue of $3,228,400, expenses of $4,588,617, with a net loss of $1,360,217. And as you recall, that's the purchase of the carts.
Okay.
Okay, now we're to the golf fund. The golf fund, we're budgeting revenue of $870,500, expenses of $864,569, for a net income of $5,900. Water and wastewater, we're budgeting $20,113,000 in revenue, $20,606,000 in expenditures, for a net loss of $492,913. Central Garage, we're budgeting revenues of $1,514,400, and we're budgeting expenditures of $1,500,286, for a net income of $14,113. The Bond and Interest Fund, we're budgeting revenues of $6,680,128 and expenditures of $6,021,700, for a net income of $658,428.
There are 2 that,
Work comp and health
I
insurance.
don't think I was falling asleep, but workers, on page 14.
Oh, I'm
Workers'
just
comp
skipping
and health
over everything,
insurance.
aren't I? Sorry.
Okay.
I'm just wanting to get done here, huh? Sorry. Work comp on slide 14, we're budgeting $250,100 in revenue, $430,418 in expenditures, for a net loss of $183,18, and that's an intentional reduction of target balance, fund balance. Health insurance fund, we're budgeting $7,318,499 in revenue, and we're budgeting $7,151,300 in expenses, for a net income of $167,199. And that's the one we talked about a lot last week, about we really won't know what our premiums are until later in the year, so those numbers could very well change. Central Garage, I already did. Bond and
you
interest
did.
fund, I already did. Property tax. So our levy in 2019 was 29.719, and it was a total tax dollar amount of $13,315,656. When we did our proposed budget, we kept the same mill levy of 29,719, which would have been tax dollars of 13,360,276. With the calculation of the tax cap, the maximum amount was a little over $13,800,000. I rounded it down to $13,800,000 just in case, which brought us to a mill levy of 13.696. Any questions, discussion, any other issues?
It's not about this budget, but let's just say, I'm going to use it as an example, let's say Boeing decides to put a headquarters here, and obviously the property values skyrocket. Does that drop the mill levy so that the budget amount stays the same, or is that a windfall as far as tax receipts and property tax?
It could do either, or it could do nothing, depending on if they have any exemptions.
Let's say if
If a new
it was all
business came
just-
in and built a
right,
brand-new
just
building,
Straight profit, yeah.
it would certainly, we could decide at that point what to do with the mill levy rate. If we left it the same, then obviously taxes would raise as long as all the other properties in the city stayed the same.
But you don't
But
have to worry.
if our value rose and nothing else changed, then our taxes would rise.
We can
But you don't have to worry about that
We
for-
can reap the benefit of new growth.
Yes, we can reap that benefit in the
Right,
tax
but
cap.
for 2021, you don't, because they look at the value on January 1 of
That's correct.
2021. So if nothing's been built between now and then, so if somebody came in and was building something, you wouldn't get that benefit until
Next year.
January 2022.
All
Yeah.
right,
Yeah,
thank-
yeah.
Right.
There's a
Yeah,
substantial lag.
there's a lag
You might
there.
get a partial, but not.
Because a lot of times if something's under construction, they set a value on it on January 1. If it's half complete, then you get taxed on a halfway completed project.
Thank you.
Any other questions on that?
Comment, I am concerned and I'm disinclined to support a budget with a tax increase when we have the windfall from OCCK next year, call it a windfall, a savings, recognizing that's 1 year, and when we're leaving $1 million on the table in the health insurance fund. I have a real struggle doing that.
I will say when we talked about that internally, and we talked with Natalie Fisher, who's the HR director, who I'm not sure is here, her inclination from people in the industry were concerned that the effects of COVID-19 we weren't going to know. That's just a risk you take or you don't take.
That's why the target balance is $2 million.
Right.
And we
Right.
got $1 million more than that.
Right.
I'm just saying, I'm gonna struggle with that one.
Okay.
What
COVID
would
or
be
no
your, what
COVID?
would be your response to that then, Commissioner Franz, to reduce the amount
I
of
think we
the?
need to reduce the rates we charge our contributing funds by an appropriate amount to bring that balance into line with the target. That's $700,000 in the general fund.
Staff is committed to trying to build that approach. If you recall, when we thought we had sufficient fund balance to draw that down not that long ago, and our experience in the intervening 6 months caused us to rethink that. So I have concerns about whether $2 million is the right fund
Did you
balance
go
to
below
begin
the $2
with.
million?
We did, for a short period of time.
For a couple of days, maybe. But you didn't end the year below
Well,
it.
we intended to suspend payments out of that fund, or
Right.
out of the operating funds for the remainder of the year. We were only able to do that for 2 months because of the fund balance in that fund.
And so that's my concern, is the volatility of the claims in that fund.
Well, then we need to get Charlesworth here, and he needs to tell us we need $3 million in the fund. Let's not set the target and then not treat it as a target.
Understood. That's the concern I'm raising.
And he was just here last year, and he said $2 million would be fine.
I think for us really to look at it, we need to look at the volatility of claims over time and see what our experience has been. I am concerned that fund balance number was a little arbitrary.
Would it be possible to get with Charlesworth in the next week and confirm that? Because I hear where you're coming from. I mean, if we're just leaving that at, $3 million, because, for the reasons that you specified, I'd be willing to look at that as well.
And the bottom line is no matter how much money we hold there's a possibility
We could get wiped
we
out.
might need that, given the nature of the health industry. I get that. But at some point, we're not a bank.
Yeah, I see that point. My gut feeling is this might not be the year to do it. I mean, there are always going to be illnesses and plagues and things, but, if we realize, we really are sitting on too much, then, maybe we can make it up with rate decreases next year or I don't know what the option is. I think we've been relatively lucky as an organization in that we haven't had, I'm guessing, a whole lot of employees actually sick from coronavirus infection yet. I hate to say yet, but sick, period. It just seems like a risky year to cut it too low. And I don't know, do you recall any bad years we've had, let's say, flu illness or anything?
Well,
where we've...
Yeah, I think the things that impact our experience rating and our expenses are more severe than flu or even COVID-19. It'll be sizable significant medical conditions of individual employees or a handful of different employees with sizable circumstances.
So it's more the 5 or 6 people who go...
ongoing conditions, ongoing treatment,
Premature
expensive
babies.
medication.
Premature births can have a
babies
fairly
run
profound
them down.
effect. Of course, we have individual stop losses on those also, which limits our exposure.
Yeah,
But that's what, 450,000 or was it 450,000 now? The stop loss? I think. It's around 450 or 500,000, I thought.
I don't know.
So the claims stopping short of the stop loss are what got to that number quickly the last time that we tried to draw that fund balance down. So previously, I think we've indicated or committed that probably the most appropriate time to look at that is right at plan year end, so that right now it's a little bit cyclical in terms of when deductibles kick in and when deductibles are met, and then when claims start picking up. So our thinking, and we haven't had a chance to talk with Charlesworth about it, is we need to identify a point in time that makes the most appropriate sense to take a look at the fund balance, take a look at the experience rating, and then identify how we might make adjustments. We're committed to that, but I don't know that we have enough data to do that just yet.
So what was the fund balance January 1 of this year? If we're going to look at it then, it is about
$1,089,000.
It's what?
Oh, no, wait, that's not the health fund.
Health insurance.
$2,188,000.
Okay.
And as far as that helping the mill levy rate increase, the proportion that goes to the general fund, which is what would affect the ability to not raise the property tax, with that 4% increase was only $150,000, which is about a third of a mill. So did that answer? I mean, I know it doesn't help your dilemma, but did it answer the questions?
I mean, it's the same answer we got last week, so.
Okay, any other questions for Ms. Pack? Okay,
Good to me.
Thank you very much.
thank you. Do we have anything else, Mr. Scragg?
That's what I was looking for here. So there must be something else on this agenda that I couldn't remember. Okay.
Not on the study session
That's it.
agenda.
Okay.
Boy, it's too bad we couldn't knock out one of those executive sessions.
Sessions, right?
We tried to guesstimate how much time
Just never know.
Well, the finance director just talks way too fast.
I know, I'm sorry.
She's been talking a lot, I know
That's
that much.
intentional.
That's-
Yeah, I could go pay some bills.
For what, a question that came up in the past that I did provide an answer to in my city manager update, but I know the question was raised whether County Streets Event Center inspector participated in the public, the payroll protection program and corporate entity inspector is to He confirmed they did not participate in that.
Along those lines, I also requested from them an amended budget. She said she'd put those numbers
good.
together for us,
Okay.
so.
Yeah, I'm just curious as to how their numbers look.
And I guess as long as we have time, I thought I'd ask about the district court papers that we received as part of our packet for, I guess,
Evergy.
easements.
Yeah, from Evergy.
Riffle edition.
Yeah.
Yeah, I view that as eminent domain proceedings on the part of Evergy to acquire easements.
Okay.
So I can't speak to kind of their procedure. As you know, we spend a lot of time working on trying to voluntarily acquire easements, but I don't know how much effort has gone into it in advance, but looks like a eminent domain proceeding.
Okay, if not, study session will end, and we'll be back here at 4 o'clock?
3:40.
3:45, I guess, yeah, for public comment.
Mike, were you ever able to get a hold of Sandy Beverly?
No, no. In fact, did you see Brian?
Okay, it's 3:45. This is the portion of the study session where we open it up if anyone has any comments to make during study session, so if not, I think...
Norman Mantle, Salina. When the construction is being done in the city of Salina, has the city got any involvement in safety? I'm talking about OSHA laws. I have seen some serious violations in the city. Some of these violations, there's a $5,000 or $10,000 fine. I've got a picture here of the paper, and it shows construction. And there are some serious OSHA violations here. I'm a crane operator. I know what safety is. So I'm just asking if you don't know, or if you can find out, if you have anything involvement, anything to say about this?
Yeah, I know the answer to that, but it's no.
No?
That's...
Okay.
Does that go to like the Department of Labor? Is that something, a concern that goes to the Department of Labor or the Health Department, or where?
OSHA is probably the agency to
oversees
contact.
those, yeah. That would be the individual contractor's responsibility.
Now, if our building city inspector was just there for routine inspection of a certain part of the building, if a violation was found, is he or she obligated to report it?
Well, the first presumption that's a problem is that our inspectors aren't trained in OSHA standards, so we don't necessarily know to a detail to identify a violation. So they're not really in a position to proceed from there.
Okay.
When I seen this, I about fell out of my chair. Somebody's going to get killed. I'm just bringing it to
I'm
your
not
attention.
arguing with you. I don't, that's not something that we are authorized nor trained in.
Which project was, I'm just curious.
The hotel down here on Santa Fe and Walnut. As an operator, we take it very seriously. If I kill somebody when I'm operating the crane, I'm going to prison. I'm going to do 8 years mandatory manslaughter.
Any other comments or under this study session open forum? Okay, if not, we'll be back here for the regular commission meeting at 4 o'clock.